it away. Benavidez, from what I've seen, comes forward at the same speed all the time. He's an excellent fighter and he brings a lot of pressure, but coming forward at the same speed all the time, you may get walked into some of those traps. It's an interesting fight, you know, because obviously there's rumors that, hey, they sparred and then Benavidez did well in sparring, and so Bivol never used him again. That's all hearsay, hearsay, you know, he said, she said type of stuff. I don't really put a lot of stock into it. You know, some guys have good days on certain sparring days, some guys have bad days on certain sparring days, and also sometimes people just make up stuff on certain sparring days, as you guys very well know. So I don't know, man. You know, it's probably one of those things where both guys are going to feel like they got the better of it in sparring, but regardless, you know, you can settle this in the ring, and I think it'll be a great fight. I think it's a great stylistic clash. And
wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because, I mean, I would go with Benavidez.
Oscar De La Hoya is boldly backing David Benavidez to completely dismantle Dmitry Bivol, pointing to Benavidez's superior activity, sharper footwork, and elite ability to adjust mid-fight.
Because he's more active, he throws more punches, he has better footwork, obviously, than Dmitry Bivol. You know, he's smarter up there. He knows how to think, knows how to adjust. Yeah, I would favor Benavidez.
Oscar De La Hoya admits that taking on a monster like Benavidez is a terrifying risk, but it is the exact defining test that would instantly cement Bivol as an immortal Hall of Fame legend.
Wow. I think Benavidez is very interesting. I think that's a hell of a fight. Wow. I mean, if he's willing to do that, if he's willing to be great and fight Benavidez, my gosh. That would solidify, you know, Bivol's, you know, Hall of Fame career for sure.
The Golden Boy boss views this potential showdown not just as another title defense, but as a dangerous and thrilling gauntlet that promises to be an absolute war from start to finish.
But look, yeah, he proves to the world that he's the best at 175. So. Yeah, I think that's a hell of a fight. That would be a hell of a route to take.
Former world champion Fernando Vargas believes David Benavidez possesses a rare, terrifying physical gift that Dmitry Bivol simply cannot prepare for.
Benavidez is a monster. He's just like, you've never seen somebody that's so tall, so big, be that fast. It's like he's super fast, you know what I mean? And he has power too. So at the end of the day, you know, I tip my hand off to Benavidez. He's a Mexican monster. That'll be a great fight, and I think that he would be the one that favored to win.
Legendary trainer Teddy Atlas respects David Benavidez because he possesses a rare throwback mentality born from a lifetime in the trenches of the sport. He believes this fearless old-school attitude, combined with natural talent, gives Benavidez the mental edge to break down a precise champion like Bivol.
Listen, I always loved Benavidez and his father for a lot of reasons. He can fight, he's got talent, he's been fighting since he's a kid. You know, he was brought up, him and his brother, to be fighters. It's in their blood. You know, they live it. But I always loved him because of his attitude on top of that. That he'll fight anyone. Old school. You know, he puts his you know, money where his mouth is.
Atlas points to a devastating secret weapon in Benavidez's arsenal that makes him a nightmare matchup for the Russian technician. He is convinced that Benavidez can unleash sudden, torrential bursts of explosive power and blinding hand speed that will catch Bivol completely off guard and overwhelm his rigid defense.
And the biggest reasons why I gave Benavidez an advantage to just win the fight, forget about that he was going to stop him, but his hands are faster, he's more explosive, and he's got that ability to fight and burst. He is a guy, I think the secret's out. I don't think everyone knew that this is a guy who is explosive and burst. The way that, you know, you might be in a certain part of the country that is prone to cloud bursts of rain. Like in the middle of the day, all of a sudden, boom.
The Hall of Fame analyst loves the deep-rooted fighting lineage and absolute fearlessness that define the Benavidez camp. In a sport full of fighters avoiding risks, Atlas sees a warrior who backs up his words with elite skill and an uncompromising will to win that will ultimately carry him to victory.
There's another one. That's Benavidez. He is explosive with his hand speed, with power, and just his knack, his instinctual knack to know when to explode.
Boxing icon Roy Jones Jr. believes that David Benavidez operates on a completely different psychological wavelength, driven by a rare destiny for greatness that mirrors his own legendary career. He is convinced that this relentless hunger to constantly challenge himself and reach for the absolute peak will give Benavidez the unstoppable momentum needed to conquer Bivol.
David's always been destined to be great. David's always been that guy that looks to try to reach for the sky. It's like people like David Benavidez make you appreciate what you did because I challenged myself at different places. He challenges himself at different places. He got the message, and that's the message I want to leave in boxing. So when I see him do things like that, it makes me feel good because makes me understand that what God gave me, I pass it down properly to others, and that's a beautiful thing for me.
Former world champion Sergio Mora believes David Benavidez has the ultimate psychological edge because he already knows exactly what to expect from their past sparring sessions. He is convinced that conquering the man who defeated Canelo Alvarez on a historic night in Las Vegas is the exact destiny that will allow Benavidez to seize the crown of boxing.
Because one, they've sparred before, so they know what to expect. That's one. Two, imagine him fighting in September in the same venue in Las Vegas with all the Mexicans watching again and beating a guy that beat down your superstar, a guy that beat Bivol. I'm talking about Bivol beat Canelo and you beating Bivol on that special date. That's how you take over the crown at 29 years old and become the next star for the next couple of years.
Mora points out that the champion is entirely devoid of real stopping power, making him highly vulnerable to a truly dangerous pressure fighter. He insists that Benavidez will use his superior hand speed to completely intercept the timing of the jab, close the distance, and let his explosive power dictate the fight.
Because he's not a big puncher, he's footwork, and you need to know how to close down that distance and footwork. Benavidez has that. Speed beats the timing of Bivol with that jab. The speed's going to intercept that, and then ultimately the power. The power's going to be on Benavidez's side. Bivol's never been a puncher. He's strong, but he's not a puncher. So everything's for Benavidez. I would see him being the major favorite here.
The boxing analyst emphasizes that a long history of failing to stop opponents proves the champion simply cannot hurt an elite warrior in his prime. In a grueling battle, Moore expects the blinding, natural hand speed of Benavidez to consistently beat the slower rhythm of his opponent and carry him to a dominant victory.
I mean, he probably has one stoppage in half a dozen fights, if not more. He hasn't knocked anyone out in years consecutively. So no, I don't think the power will be on his advantage if he fights Benavidez. Benavidez just has the quicker, natural, explosive hands.
Chris Mannix warns that it is a massive mistake to underestimate Dmitry Bivol's power, reminding fans that the champion possessed a terrifying knockout reputation early in his career. He argues that Bivol's experience enduring two grueling, high-pressure wars with an elite puncher like Artur Beterbiev proves he has more than enough firepower to disrupt Benavidez's game plan.
I would push back on the idea that Bivol's not a big puncher. He hasn't had a lot of knockouts lately, but when he was coming up the ranks, we were talking about him as being like the Russian Gennady Golovkin. Like he has been a puncher in the past. I think he's got some pop, enough pop that could bother Benavidez, and he's used to dealing with guys that put pressure on him. I mean, he just did 24 rounds with Artur Beterbiev, who was, at the time, was a top 10 pound for pound guy who had a unblemished knockout ratio.
The veteran boxing analyst believes Benavidez deserves the edge because he is currently a dominant peak prime monster conquering multiple divisions. Mannix points out that while Bivol is returning from a long layoff following major back surgery, Benavidez is fully active and has the flawless momentum needed to hand the champion his most definitive defeat.
Joe would not have fought at 168. Do you think?
We called that fight. It was on the zone because I remember Joe Smith Jr. hurting late in that fight with the overhand right.
I remember that. Yes,
Bivol was dominating, but Bivol's never been a puncher. If you look at this resume, he probably has one stoppage in half a dozen fights, if not more. He hasn't knocked anyone out in years consecutively. So no, I don't think I don't think the power will be on his advantage if he fights Benavidez.
Malik Scott believes David Benavidez is flat out the most terrifying and dangerous force in boxing across any weight class. He is convinced that Benavidez presents a 12-round nightmare of non-stop activity, unleashing blistering combinations where nearly every single shot carries devastating knockout power that will eventually shatter Bivol's defense.
To me, Benavidez is the most dangerous fighter in the world, and I'm including all divisions. I don't. We could talk about Shakur's, we could talk about Haney's, we could talk about all these Usyks and guys that's better than him technically. But I'm talking about as far as danger zone. When you're in the fight of your life from round 1 through round 12, David Benavidez, I've never seen nothing like him before. I've never seen hand speed like that on a consistent basis. I've never seen extension with that hand speed like that. He throw 8-punch combinations sometimes or even more. If he throw 13 shots, 11 of them got heat on it. Usually the more people throw, the more that the power is not there. No, he's gritting.
The prominent trainer warns that stepping into the ring with Benavidez means entering a brutal zone of pure physical punishment. He emphasizes that even if a master technician like Bivol somehow finds a way to win, the sheer violence and relentless pressure from Benavidez ensure the champion will leave the ring completely broken and physically damaged.
I say all that to say sometimes you have to tip your hat off to a guy. David Benavidez is beyond the real deal. Anyone that's in the ring with him at any weight division is in trouble. Even if you beat him, you're going to be sore for a week or two straight. Even if you beat him, you're not going to come out unscathed. This guy's a dangerous man in the division. What division? Any division that he's in.
Scott points out that Benavidez possesses an unorthodox and deceptive rhythm that completely defies traditional boxing logic. He argues that while his defense might look messy on paper, Benavidez absorbs body shots to protect his head, rolls with punches beautifully, and instantly fires back with a chaotic style that will utterly confuse and disrupt Bivol's pristine timing.
First fighter I ever studied thus far since I've been in this game that everything he does wrong, it works good for him. It sounds so weird. All his stuff he do wrong, it makes him better, if you know what I mean. The way his defense don't look clean, but he's getting hit with 2 out of 8 shots. He get hit more with the center shot here, flesh, right in the center core than he do in the head. Because he blocks punches with his arms, he uses speed, he make you miss, he know how to roll punches and come right back. Dude is incredible, man, incredible fighter.
Sean Zittel believes David Benavidez is the ultimate savior for Mexican boxing who can finally avenge Canelo Alvarez's most humiliating defeat. He thinks Benavidez is the true powerhouse who will march into enemy territory and show the world what real Mexican fighting spirit looks like.
Right now, the fight is Dmitry Bivol. And one way to really ingratiate yourself to that Mexican and Mexican-American fan base is, hey, Bivol, you know what? Canelo's a great fighter. We're never really going to get that fight anyways. You know, it was a good quote afterwards. Canelo was in the building a short time before the main event. I get it. You got to play that up. But the real fight is Bivol, and it's, hey, pick on a Mexican your own size. That is how you pick on a Mexican your own size. Not a 5'8", former junior middleweight. Pick on the monstro. And Mexican people, yo soy gallo. Okay, I am your gallo. I am the guy who will get back from Mexican boxing and show them what it really is.
The prominent boxing journalist argues that the champion's age and heavy damage from recent brutal wars have left him completely exposed to a younger monster. Zittel is convinced that Benavidez will ruthlessly exploit these physical weaknesses and hand the fading title holder a devastating loss.
Fight, I get it, because he's not a sitting duck like Ramirez was last night, but Bivol is 35 years old. He's coming off injuries, 24 grueling rounds with Beterbiev. I think I favor Benavidez to beat him.
Zittel notes that writing off the champion is a dangerous mistake because his elite ring intelligence and supernatural footwork can neutralize any aggressive fighter. He believes that the Russian master has the tactical brilliance and underrated physical strength to completely shut down the heavy artillery coming his way.
It's a totally different style than Ramirez, and Benavidez is gonna probably lose a little something getting back down to light heavyweight. And the footwork alone of Bivol and all that, and excellent hand speed himself, and in the light heavyweight division, underrated strength. I mean, you've been around Bivol. This this shock absorber is a mother. That's why he was able to hold up to the heavy artillery of Beterbiev without wilting in 24 rounds. He could take a shot. He is super smart, quick hands, quick feet, the beautiful Eastern European feints. It's still a great fight, and a lot of people that know boxing will still pick Dmitry Bivol because styles do make fights.
Former world champion Chris Algieri believes David Benavidez is driven by a deep desire to humiliate Canelo Alvarez by conquering the one man Canelo failed to defeat. He is convinced that this ultimate quest for revenge will push Benavidez to his absolute limits to conquer Bivol and seize complete psychological dominance over the entire sport.
He has to go down to 175 and fight Dmitry Bivol, because Canelo wouldn't fight Benavidez at 68. He obviously went up to fight 75 against Bivol. Actually went up to 75 to beat Kovalev, and he did amazingly. And then he went back up again to fight Bivol, which was a mistake, obviously. Takes the loss. So you don't want to fight me? Cool. I'm going to go beat the guy who beat you. How about that? There's no better smack in the face for David Benavidez than to go back down to 75, fight Bivol. Not saying he beats Bivol, but hypothetically, he goes down there and he beats Bivol. He at that point, he has everything over Canelo at that point. You didn't want to fight me? Cool. You went up, you lost. I went up, I beat that guy.
David Benavidez had drawn his line in the sand. The catchweight offer was on the table, the belts were in play, and the entire division was watching to see what Bivol would do next. This was not just a fight being talked about. This was a legacy moment waiting to happen, and both men knew exactly what was at stake. So who did they think would win if Benavidez and Bivol finally meet at 190 pounds? Does the catchweight give David the edge? Or is Bivol simply too smart and too skilled at any weight? They dropped their prediction in the comments below. If they enjoyed this breakdown, they hit that like button and subscribed for more. Every week there was more elite boxing drama, more big fights, and more deep dives just like this one coming their way. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.